today I'm gonna show you how to legit check your Yeezys to make sure they're real before you go out spending a ton of money on some fakes. It's gonna be a long video, so be prepared, and we're gonna go over every detail you can possibly imagine, alright? So let's just get to it. So what you're looking at are the 350 Boost creams, triple whites, same thing. One of them is fake. I don't know if you can tell right from this what is fake. I'll give you a little chance. That's the front. This is the side. This is the back. You can look at the box too. Other side. Now, if you said these are the fakes, you're correct. These are fake. And I'm gonna show you how to tell. First things first, you see this color difference? You see how this is so dark and this is really light? Now these were used, all right? Not by me, but they were used. And you know, you might want to say that, oh, that's why they're darker or whatever. Nice try, not the case. You can really tell on the back. You see how the way Yeezys are formed, they have this back sole that wraps around. That color difference is so drastic. Now, I tried to clean the bottoms of these, you see, and it got lighter, but it's still not nearly as light as this. And it's not because they were worn, they're just not authentic. The Boost really looks the same, but this is a lot harder. The fake has a lot harder of Boost foam because it's not real. The actual real one is super soft. Now, if we look closer at the Adidas here, the flower, this right piece of that whatever they call this flower, is like skewed. It's not perfect Adidas logo. That's a red flag. It's a super minor detail, but it will be perfect on a real one. Now, the next biggest giveaway is the length and distance of this pull tab. On the fake, it's twice the distance of a real one. You can see how close this is to the heel versus the fake one. You can pull a car with that thing. And if you measure it, because numbers don't lie, and fashion is based off patterns, you measure about ½ an inch on the real one, and on the fake one, almost an inch. Huge difference. I'll show you from the top. You can easily see the difference here. I'll put my finger there, and here my finger's touching here. Huge difference. The distance on the pull strap from the top of the piping to the edge is a lot smaller than it is on the Authentics. It's about 3/8 of an inch on the fakes and a little over ½ an inch on the Authentics. You can also see a difference in the stitching. This stitching on the Authentics is a lot tighter versus the fakes. It's a lot looser of a stitch, not as high quality. The stitching on the back of the pull tab is a double stitch on the Authentics versus a single stitch on the fakes. On the back heels of the shoe, you can see the Authentics are a lot wider than the fakes. And if we measure, the width of the fakes, just over 2 inches, and the width of the reals are about 2.5 inches. Big difference. 2 inches, 2.5 inches. You can see it, but if you don't have a real pair to compare to, it may be very difficult. If you look at the stitching very closely, it's a lot more robust on the Authentics, a lot wider than it is on the fakes. This is kind of obvious if you can compare to a real pair. You have about a ½ inch wide stitch on the real ones, and the fake ones are about a 1/4 inch, so half the size. If you feel the material, the real ones, the prime knit is very sturdy. The fake ones, it's way more flimsy, not as sturdy, just a lot softer. Something you can feel, but you kind of need to know in order to be able to make that judgment. The stitching on the back of the heel tab should be noticeable. Should be a nice thick stitch all the way around, like you see here on the Authentics. On the fakes, you can see this is a lot smaller stitch, thinner thread. It kind of gets folded over on the edges, not very noticeable, not authentic. Your inside label should look like this. Made in China should be centered, top to bottom, left to right. The sizes should be bold. The Adidas QR code should be a high quality. On the fakes, all the fonts are super bold. Made in China is not centered, top to bottom. The QR code is a little blurry, not authentic. Next is the paper that's in the shoe. This is the fake one, and this is the real one. Very different shape, very different material, different colors. This is like, feels like toilet paper. This is like a heavier type of paper. Totally different texture. This is rougher, this is really smooth. You can kind of see that on camera. The shape is drastically different. The color, totally different materials, totally fake. When it comes to the insoles, the Adidas Yeezy logo should be very bold, thick. The lettering is very close together. On the fake one, it's not that bold. The lettering's kind of far apart on Yeezy, and it's kind of obvious that they're not real. Now, one obvious thing to look for is on real ones, the fabric that lines this footbed should be pinned straight from the front of the shoe to the back of the shoe. These lines should be right with the logo, perfectly straight on both. The fake one, they're straight on this one, and on this one they're at an angle to the left, which you can see. That is an obvious sign they're not authentic. Now on the bottom side, the real ones are pure white. The lettering here that says the size is very bold, it's very thick. The fake ones, it's kind of like a speckled gray pattern. The lettering here is really thin. The Adidas logo on the Authentics is very bold, very thick, nice rounded edges. And the fakes, no rounded edges, very thin, not very deep. Along with this texturing here, especially by the toe, you could tell this has been stamped and not molded. The real ones have been molded. You could see on the real ones how this pattern is coming above the surface. It was molded that way. Versus the fake one, there's this circular line, and you could see that this has been stamped with this pattern effect and not actually molded from the factory that way. The lettering on the side of the Authentics is very bold, very prominent. The fakes, it's very thin, not totally there. Also, if this says some weird size, definitely a red flag. You could see this like speckling effect. It's kind of a gray on the non-Authentics, along with this logo not being very clean, not very bold compared to the Authentics. The Adidas logo is very bold, very dominant, rounded edges, very clean, and the overall material is pure white. Now we're going to take a deeper look into the boxes. So you probably noticed that this is a different label than this. These are the real ones. These are fake. Depending where you order them from is dependent upon the label you get. This is a international worldwide shipping label, and then this is a US label. So if you get it from Yeezy Supply, you probably get this. If you get it from Adidas, you'll get this. So if you have a label like this, doesn't mean they're fake or anything. If you have a label like this, doesn't mean it's real. These are the fakes. Looking at it a little closer, these are real butters. These are the fakes. One thing that's suspect is how straight this label is from a store versus these are real. You see how the label's at an angle? What store employee is that meticulous to put it on so straight, right? They just slap these things on. So this being super straight is a little suspect. Now if you look closely, the guy is slightly different on each one. One thing that is dead giveaway is the size of the Adidas logo here. It's much larger than this one. It's also not centered to the adidas.com/Kanye. If I run a straight edge on the authentic pair, the middle of that flower hits the O in com. If I run it straight here, we miss the O, we're in between. Next thing that is probably very hard to see on camera is all the text on the fake box is black. When the authentic real boxes, it's like an 80% gray. So it's not a deep black, it's more of a really dark gray. If you have an eye for typography, you can see that the font is slightly different. In the Boost, Yeezy, all the fonts are slightly different. If we measure on the real box, from the edge of the 0 to the tip of this 3, we have 10 inches exactly. If we measure the same edge of the 0 to the tip of the 3, we have 9 3/4 inches on the fakes. If we measure the height of the 3, we have 5 1/4 inches on the real ones, and on the fake ones, we have 5 1/2 inches. If you have an eye for fonts, you can see that the 5 is different than this. It's more stretched. This is slightly taller by 1/4 inch. Still noticeable. Looking at the other side, the same thing. This is very black ink. This is more of an 80% gray on the real ones. The Adidas logo is much smaller than it is on the fake one. And probably the biggest giveaway is the way this is cut. You see how this is a 45-degree angle on the fakes, and all real boxes have this semicircle rounded cut. That is pretty obvious. This side also has the alignment going right to the edge of the 0 in com, and this hits more in the middle of the 0. Now I tested this against 8 other boxes that are all from Adidas, and the fake does not compare to any of them. Looking at the boost on the side of the box, you can see the real box, it's a lot thicker, especially on the edges of the O's, versus the fake box, a lot thinner. Also the T comes above some of these letters, versus here it's a lot more in line. This font's just a little janky. Comparing them side by side, you can see the difference. Looking at the paper inside the box can be an easy way to tell if they're authentic or not. The fake ones have a real waxy, greenish yellow paper, and the real ones have a softer, more tan, not very waxy, a matte side, a slightly glossy side. This is just super waxy, you can feel it. It feels like wax paper. Compared to the authentics, it's a lot softer and totally different color. Looking at the shoe tag from the fake pair, nothing is centered, especially on this side. It's not even close to center. This is a dead giveaway. Looking at the real pair, perfectly centered. Both sides, authentic. So we pretty much went over every detail. I hope it helped you. I hope your shoes are legit. I do not support fakes. I do not sell them. I do not buy them. I want nothing to do with them. But the fact is that they're out there and they're getting better and better and better. So it's really hard to tell, and some of these details may seem like too much for you, you know, like I don't know. But the fact is that in the small details is how you will tell if your shoes are real. And to figure out if they are, you really need to get in the mind of a con artist and what they would miss in the process. Like the sticker label being different and not straight. These small things are the things that the con artist will overlook. If enough of the things that we went over don't add up on your shoes, they're most likely not real. A lot of the Yeezys that you see out and about are not real. And most people don't even know. They think they're real, they were told they're real, they were sold on it, and they don't really have the knowledge to figure it out. And I hope this video just helps you figure it out. Like I said, I hope they're real. I hope your shoes are real. Yeah, and if you made it this far in the video, you're the GOAT. So smash that like button, hit your boy with a subscribe. I got more videos coming out. They're just getting better and better. So till then, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Alright, we're here. We're in Brooklyn. Supreme drop happening right there. Yuli is in line 4 blocks down. I'm gonna go visit her. Just want to check out what it's looking like right now.